Hi, I'm Cameron Wilson and welcome to the Foundation for Rural and Regional Renewal podcast, where we regularly feature the projects that are breaking down isolation and generally improving life in rural Australia. This week, it's all about the power of a shared passion for conservation and sustainability.
I've always got a little army of flower gatherers bringing things in. At the moment, there are 50 pressed grasses waiting to be done that one flower gatherer has taken all the trouble to get and press and bring into me. Those pressed grasses must be done.
That's Jenny Mace, a botanical artist who lives in outback Queensland, and there's no doubting her passion. We'll hear more from Jenny in just a moment. This episode, it's all about conservation and environmental projects that actually break down social isolation and help communities to gain a sense of a common purpose and control. Now, the value of that becomes most apparent during drought. A little later, we'll look at why it is that a common practical environmental goal can be a particularly potent way to build social cohesion. But first, let's go back to Jenny. Jenny is a botanical artist who's based in Barcaldine. That's in the desert Uplands region of Queensland's central west. It's a town that's probably best known as the home of the Tree of Knowledge, an important site in the foundation of the Australian Labor Party. But it's actually the less celebrated flora that's the subject of Jenny's artwork.
I paint desert uplands native flora only, and we're forming a collection. I'm just touching the 500 now. It's been a labour of love that's gone on for 6 years. It's something that's grown and become a passion. And the desert uplands are just marvellous. They're my funders. They take me out into the bush and look for things. The desert uplands sits on top of the Galilee Basin, which is part of the greater Artesian Basin. It's high country that has eroded down from a ridge. It's sandy soil, but it's very vegetated. It hasn't been cleared very much. As we warm up with climate change, because it's high and cooler, it will be a refuge as we heat up from wildlife from other areas. Because of mining, the threat of mining in the Galilee Basin to our water supplies and to the beautiful world that we have, we feel it is important to record it.
Now, a passion for painting flowers might seem a rather unlikely vehicle to actually bring a community together, but the process of recording the flora and discovering new species along the way has been the catalyst for bringing diverse groups from Barcaldine and beyond together. This has partly been driven by Jenny's physical limitations.
This exercise of mine has involved the whole of the Barcaldine community. I'm 74 and on a walking stick, and I'm not allowed to drive. So it involves people who come from the bush or whose work takes them out into the bush. They bring specimens into me. So I call them my flower gatherers. They come and go, but I've always got a little army of flower gatherers bringing things in. At the moment, there are 50 pressed grasses waiting to be done that one flower gatherer has taken all the trouble to get and press and bring into me. Those pressed grasses must be done. So I love my flower gatherers, and the other people that it involves is the Queensland Herbarium, and we're very, very grateful to them. Pressed specimens and paintings, they're watercolours mostly, a couple of pencils but very few, go down to the Queensland Herbarium for botanical identification and for cross-referencing. They are our only authority. We don't go on the net. We don't listen to other people.
While the scientific identification is left solely to the herbarium, when it comes to actually showing the artworks, well, the more people involved, the better it is. Small exhibitions are regularly held around the district, which not only bring the community together, but it also involves the men's shed to help make it happen.
They've made racks to put paintings on when it goes into an exhibition, and they've made easels. And they've also made card stands for us. The Desert Uplands prints my work. They use my copyright, and they print my work, and they take the proceeds of the sale of mugs, cards and prints and things. That helps fund our exhibitions. When the big exhibition goes up, 200 go on the wall, but we have lots of mini exhibitions. We might send the wattles here, or grasses there, or eucalypts there. Little minis are easy, but when we put the 200 on the wall, it's a big exercise.
Jenny Mace, whose art and exhibitions is funded via the Desert Uplands Committee. That's a group that's been supported in the past by the FRRR. This is the FRRR Podcast. I'm Cameron Wilson. This edition is all about uniting a community and breaking down social isolation through conservation, sustainability projects, or environmental restoration. Now, of course, not every community has a renowned botanical artist to rally around, but that doesn't really matter. The FRRR has funded various projects run by land care groups around Australia, a Queensland Murray-Darling committee that brought together women with a common interest in natural resource management, and there are plenty of other examples too, where conservation has been the driver for a program that aims to reduce stress and isolation during drought. Annie Grindrod is an FRRR board member with extensive experience in philanthropy in the environmental sector. She says there's a number of reasons why these sorts of projects are so effective.
Well, I think when there's a lot of pressure on landholders in tough times, particularly in drought, to manage what they're doing on their farms, but also to think about the environmental assets of a region. There's a lot of value in people spending time looking at their wider environment, so outside their farms. And I think one of the things that we saw up in the Desert Uplands region is a very unique environment that is under enormous pressure, not just from unreliable rainfall, but also the added pressure from mining and exploration on private land. So the community activities that are available to, these small groups enables them to work in the wider landscape, so getting off their own farms, but looking more broadly at the things that are happening in their landscape. And that not only obviously works to help protect the natural environment, but helps those communities connect with each other. And I think we saw quite clearly how there were people who were able to spend time together supporting each other, not just in their shared interest in the environment, but also in their interest in supporting each other's well-being.
So what, in some ways, would it be fair to say that the common interest of the environment or conservation is almost like the catalyst to break down isolation?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, these people love their environment. They love where they live. So to look at how they can, help support and preserve wetland areas or protect wildlife corridors for birds and animals, expanding habitats by tree planting, all these things give them concrete things to do. So, I think it's a very practical application of environment projects that helps people to connect with each other. Digging in the ground, getting out with a spade or a hose, really does give people, a common interest.
Mm. In your experience, how difficult is it to actually get a community-driven environmental program or conservation program started, to get it off the ground?
Look, I don't think it's terribly hard. I think there are always people who have an interest in their wider environment, and we have in Australia a wide system of land care groups who have been driven by very grassroots application of interest in different parts in Australia. So, people will have noticed that they have, a particularly interesting wetland, or they have a species of animal that's endemic to their area, and so they've worked to try to protect and enhance that particular feature. And that, not only helps for the local community, but it might also bring in tourism and has that sort of added flow-on effect that, enhances the community more generally.
Annie Grindrod from the FRRR. She's a board member with expertise in environmental philanthropy. Annie also points out that the FRRR has a strategy of supporting medium to long-term recovery from natural disasters, so funding work to improve the environment that's been impacted by sustained drought, that's a natural fit. You can visit the FRRR website for more examples of these types of projects, but for now, that's it from me. I'm Cameron Wilson. Thanks for listening.